our biggest obstacles, our biggest barriers that we need to overcome is our self-doubt. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi, my name is Miss Paris. I am a newly qualified primary school teacher from the UK. Today I want to address a concern that many trainee teachers seem to have, and that is having confidence in the classroom. You know, how do you do it? How do you stand and look confident? How do you stand and show your authority? How do you stand there and gain their respect? Well, this will be part 1 in a part 2 series where I answer that question. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up so other people, other trainees can see it, and subscribe to stick around for part 2, which will be coming on Monday. So this part 1 in the series will be about preparation. So you might think you've heard it all before. Make sure you have a lesson plan, make sure you have all the worksheets ready. That's not what I'm going to talk about. Basically, when you are doing your lesson plan, you need to make sure that you can visualize how the lesson is going to go almost minute by minute. You might have your worksheets ready for your starter or your main activity or your plenary, but if you can't see in your head how you will transition from one to the other, how you will introduce a new topic, then you might stand in front of the class and panic a little bit, or straight away go into the main part and miss a key component of your lesson. So in your lesson plan, whether this is just notes for yourself on some post-its, or whether it's in line with the SCITT's recommended lesson plan, have almost minute by minute idea of what you're going to do. So you could say from o'clock to 10 past, I will be introducing the topic, saying why it's important, say what the goals for the lessons are, the learning intentions or learning objectives. Then I will maybe ask them to discuss with the person next to them what they think this keyword means, or I will then show the new PowerPoint. You need to be able to see yourself talking and see yourself teaching that lesson. If it's just a bunch of worksheets for you, it's going to get overwhelming. And the main lesson where I was most overwhelmed in my whole year was where I had about 7 different worksheets, 5 different groups, and I just couldn't, I hadn't planned for the moment where children from other groups were going to come to me while I was teaching a particular group and saying, what do I do now? What do I do next? Can you help me? And I just felt like I was being cut into 7 parts and just panicking. So make sure when you're lesson planning that you can visualize yourself teaching the lesson, visualize how it's going to go. My second tip, and this one we can go into a lot more detail about, is practice. There are so many different things that you can practice before you get into a classroom. It's actually kind of surprising, and a lot of them you might not think about. For example, phonics. If you are going to be a Key Stage 1 teacher, or you are more comfortable in Key Stage 2 but you know you're going to have a Key Stage 1 placement, think about your phonics pronunciation. I went into my Key Stage 1 placement still going p, t, g, and I'm telling you now, that's wrong. So make sure you're comfortable with all the phase sounds and how to pronounce them. Because if you're having a lesson observation for a phonics lesson and you are teaching children how to say a sound and that's not correct, that's quite a big one. So just practice that beforehand. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's all good preparation for when you are there in front of the children and you don't suddenly have to panic about whether it's t or t. Easy. One of my favorite things about teaching is the potential power your body language and your words have on the children. So, for example, there are so many one-liners you can do where you kind of say, okay, I'll just wait until everybody stops talking. And then 28 potential children could be looking at the 2 children talking, and it's suddenly that non-verbal peer pressure and the fact that I'm there at the front of the classroom with my teacher face and my arms folded, and they suddenly go, oh. Sometimes it might not work, but sometimes it will. And it's really important to try and find these little catchphrases, these little things that you could say in order to manage behaviour in your class. So practice those. Practice your teacher face. Practice these big eyes that means I'm waiting. But I will go into a lot more detail about those kind of things in the second part of my video, which is all about presentation, okay? But those one-liners are things that you can practice. You can also practice these fun little chants that you do, especially in younger schools, or you can still do in older schools. For example, there's 1, 2, 3 eyes on me. So by the time they get to 3 and they hear eyes on me, everyone should be looking this way. There's other little chants that you can do, even as high as year 6, really. For example, you could do finish the sentence, so beans on, and then everyone will say toast. And by toast, they know that they have to pay attention. It's time to focus back to the teacher. All these little kind of things you can feel ridiculous doing the first time you do it in front of the class, but actually the moment they respond, it's an immediate confidence boost. So if you go in already confident in saying it, they will respond so much quicker, so much better. Another thing that can feel really strange and really unnatural when you're teaching is the power of silence and the power of patience. So for us, if I were to sit here in silence for 30 seconds, you would feel uncomfortable and I would feel uncomfortable. And in the classroom, you often do feel uncomfortable, but you know what? If it takes you 30 seconds of silent waiting for 2, 3, 4, 5 children to be quiet, or if you said stop fidgeting and you can see 2 people fidgeting or 5 people still writing, just waiting for them, that is powerful. And everyone else in the class, if you are managing behaviour correctly, they will be looking at you waiting and they know what you are waiting for. And suddenly, if those 5 children still writing or 2, 3 people still talking, if they notice everything else is silent, they will look up and think, what is going on? And then they'll realise, oh, they're waiting for me. So practice, and this seems really crazy, but practice in front of a mirror with your teaching face, just waiting. Think about your body language. Think about whether you're having arms crossed, whether you are sat down in your chair waiting, staring potentially at a pupil, not in a malicious way, more of a, I'll just wait way. And just stay there in silence for 30 seconds, even a minute if you have to. Sometimes you can be very loud about wanting to have your attention. You could say, if the noise in the room is quite loud, you could say, okay, in 10 seconds, I want you all to be quiet, facing this way, pens down. And you go 10, and then afterwards, you could either go 9, 8, and your volume gradually decrease, or you could just go 10, and then you praise the ones that are doing that correctly. So you say, well done, so-and-so for sitting lovely. I can see that blah, blah, blah is ready. I can see that person over there is ready to listen to what I've got to say. And you praise the ones that are doing it right. That's another thing. So there are so many little behavior techniques that you can do, all just practicing in front of the mirror. And if you look comfortable doing that in a classroom, the children know you mean it. It's as if I was to get on a bus and suddenly say, oh, yeah, can I go driving this bus? I don't really have much experience driving the bus, but I'm hoping I can drive the bus. Like, is it okay? Will you trust me to drive the bus? And they're going to look at you like, can you even drive? Whereas if I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I can drive this bus, no problem. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, go for it then. I mean, that's a silly analogy, but children will see it like that. They will see that if you are hesitant, if you are not confident in your words and you don't believe what you're saying, neither will they. The last thing about practice that you can do, and this is completely dependent on whether this is your thing or not. I know that this isn't everyone's cup of tea, and personally, I've only done it in really stressful situations where I know that mentally I need to calm myself down because my physiological response is just going all over the place. Exams. But one thing you can do in front of the mirror, or whether you just do that as a morning routine, whatever you do, is have some positive affirmations. If this is something that works for you, empower yourself with beliefs that you can do it. Boost your self-esteem, boost your self-confidence. Say, I can do this, or today I will, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Today I will take charge of a lesson. Today I will have a smooth transition. I know that I can do this. I know that I am a good teacher. Just reassure yourself, because our biggest obstacles, our biggest barriers that we need to overcome is our self-doubt. So if you power through that self-doubt, if you practice, if you have a clear outline and structure for your lesson that you can visualize, you are good to go, and you have completed part 1 of my How to Grow Your Confidence as a Teacher. See you for the next one. Make sure to subscribe and like this, because then YouTube will suggest it to other trainees who need these tips too. See you next time. Bye.